Well, hello everybody and welcome to What's the Quack. I'm your host, Ducky, but you can call me D-Dog, as we like to keep things cash around here. Y'all feeling cash? You got an opinion, got something to say? Well, don't say it, keep it cash, because we're all cash. I thought I'd do a cheeky little podcast there. See, I'm posting a video in a couple of hours. And the missus has gone out of the house, so it's some free time to myself there to twiddle my thumb. So I said I'd do a cheeky little podcast for you lovely lads and ladies listening in on your Apple Podcasts or your Spotify's or wherever you may be in the world. Probably on YouTube. I think that's where most people come to get it, even though you can't necessarily listen to a podcast in the background on the YouTube app, which is not ideal unless you have like YouTube Premium or something. But anyway, it doesn't matter. You're here now. That's the main thing. And I hope you're well. I hope you're all doing well. I'm just enjoying having the house to myself for a few hours. See, the missus is out. What she's doing is what I like to call setting the table. And by that I mean is she's off getting some laser hair removal done. So, setting the table there for Ducko to go nom-noms, as you do. She goes off, she gets it done. She gets the old armpits and the fanny and the whole lot done. You have to do it in a few sessions, though. So there's one thing I didn't know. I thought laser hair removal is just like, in you go, job done, your hair's gone for many, many years, just need top-ups or whatever. But no, she's like fair-haired, so she has to get like lasered 6 or 7 times before it properly takes effect. It's mad. So she comes home telling me stories then about the pain of it and stuff like that. But I was thinking when she was telling me about the laser hair removal, if I was to ever get it done, I think I'd get my arse done. I have a really hairy arse, and it's the worst kind of hairy arse because I'm like fair-haired, of like kind of blondie hair. You wouldn't realise my arse is hairy unless you kind of caught it in the light, if it was backlit, like I was some sort of hairy saint in the nip. So yeah, a fluffy bottom, as the old father fluffy bottom. If I was ever get it done, I'd probably get my arse done. You got aesthetic reasons, obviously, but then hygiene reasons, nobody likes a hairy arse and a hairy crack and sweat and other things I won't get into, you can imagine. It's not pleasant having a hairy arse. Nobody likes having a hairy arse. It's awful. But it is great that the missus gets the laser hair removal now, because I'm a fan of a hairless woman. In my ideal woman, she'd have neck down alopecia. That's kind of what I'm going for. Occasionally now, I'd like a woman if she has like the old fanny styled, maybe like a landing strip or something like that. As long as it's tidy, I like that. Preference is bald, but as long as it's tidy, it's grand. And I say that because when I was a younger man, when I was first learning the landscape of women, should we say, one of the first girls I ever had the privilege of eating their box, I pulled down their pants, and they had a hairy fanny. And being a young man at the time, I was only ever used to seeing porn online. I hadn't, seen a fanny in real life at this stage. And then she had a hairy fanny, and I was like, what the fuck is this? I had no idea. They were supposed to be hairy, or at least I probably did, but it was a surprise. And I had to negotiate that. I tell you, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was kind of learning as I was going, learning by doing. And I was just like licking her fucking pubes and everything. Oh, it was so bad. It was so awful. I was like licking the front bit, not the main bit. I was like somebody trying to find a lost sock in a drawer. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just rummaging. And it's like really awkward then as well, because she's like, I think she could tell that I was practically just fucking getting destroyed in hair. I couldn't negotiate my way through this fucking bush. But I was trying to put on like a brave face, so I was like coming up and just whiskers sticking out of my mouth, and I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm grand, I'm fine. What a fucking disaster. So that left a bad taste in my mouth, pardon the pun. So yeah, I've always been a fan of a freshly shorn fanny. That's just how I like it. Don't know how I got onto that topic, but yeah, there you go. There's some insight. Yeah, the old video I'm dropping today anyway is the Living with a Woman, the latest one. I finally finished it after too fucking long, I will say. Jesus Christ, that was a giant pain in the dick hole to get through. It was like a longer video, and it was a lot of heavier edits. It's got the most background sets I've ever drawn for a video as well. I moved house, as I mentioned in the podcast, but because of that, and then the fact that I didn't really have like a uniformed set of backgrounds for Living with the Woman videos, or I hadn't updated them in a while, I decided to update them and basically just draw the whole fucking house more or less. So I did that, so it's got like the most amount of background sets and everything. It was a bit of a slug. I got through it though. That's the main thing. But I got through it now, and it's coming out from the point of this podcast. It's coming out in about 2.5 hours, something like that. So I hope you all enjoy that when it drops. By the time this releases, it's probably going to be the next day, so you're probably listening to this the day after. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. The one thing though I don't like about doing the Living with a Woman videos is there's some like very specific stuff that I'd like to talk about. I'll probably nothing stopping me, but I like to kind of keep the videos relatable in a way, and then just some specific things about the missus that drive me up the wall that I can't put in the video because nobody's going to relate to it. You know, it's going to be one of them things. One of which is, because I'm an old night owl, as I mentioned in the video when you see it, I'm always going to bed at like 2, 3, 4 in the morning. Typically I'm at the point of just falling unconscious. I don't go to bed unless I'm actually tired. I don't know how people go to bed when they're not tired and they can just lie down and go to sleep. I can't. I'm just fucking wired. You know, I'm just like, I can't fall asleep unless I'm actually fit to pass out in the chair, more or less. So I'll go to bed at like 3 or 4 in the morning. And because she's such a light sleeper, she wakes up when I'm getting into bed half the time, you know. Which normally wouldn't be a bother. She's a light sleeper. She doesn't get bothered by me waking her up when I'm getting into bed. But what happens is, by the time she wakes up at this 3 or 4 in the morning, she's already had about 6 hours of sleep. So she's like full of fucking beans, full of chat. And she's looking at a very, very, very tired Ducky sitting at the side of the bed, barely been able to see through squinted eyes of tiredness. And she starts fucking talking to me. Like we're just meeting in the kitchen when we're making tea in the middle of the day. And I'm just in the bed just going, oh, please shut the fuck up so I can go to sleep. Jesus Christ. She's just fucking full of energy, ready to sit there, like most women now, you know, just fucking wanting to talk the head off you, and you're just like, oh, I just want to go to fucking sleep, leave me be, love, for fuck's sake. So that's one thing. That's one thing that, like, you know, drives me mad. I don't know how I got onto this topic, but we're just going to roll with it. Another thing that drives me mad, when she's talking, just during the day, not even at night, but when she's talking, this poor girl doesn't understand social cues. You know, there'll be some days there I'll be busy or be working on a video, or fuck it, I'm not even busy, I'm just doing something I'd rather be doing instead of talking. And she started talking to me about like some work story or some thing about her friends and all that, and she goes on this big long 45 to 2 hour long tangent about this story and that story and whatever else, which is normally not a problem anyway. You know, this is kind of part and parcel to being with a woman. Like, you know, they're chatty old creatures. But the thing is when I'm clearly not interested in what she has to say, whatever it is, like whatever story it is, like I'm just kind of like, you know, I'm trying to be polite, but I want out of the conversation. So I do that in the same way that everybody does it. You just kind of go, as they're talking, just go, yeah, sure. That's crazy. And I contribute nothing to the conversation. Like, you know, giving off those little, what I'd call social cues to let her know that I'm not interested in this conversation. Can you please stop? I don't want to actually, I have to outright tell you to shut the fuck up because that's rude. You know, I'm going to say she doesn't pick up on it. It's either that or she's just choosing to ignore the fact that I'm completely disinterested in what she has to say. She doesn't pick up on that either. And I'm just sitting there, and then I'll start getting angry in my head, and then I'll laugh. Oh, that's how you know I'm fucking getting taken a conversation. I'll just giggle. And she'll be like, what are you giggling at? And I'm just like, I really don't fucking care about these people. I don't even know these people you're talking about. I don't even know why you thought I'd be interested in this. It's like, come on, girl, know your audience. I've never once expressed interest in any of these bullshit stories. You just don't stop. Oh God, I love her really, but like, you know, these are quibbles. You know, this shit. Every couple has them. You know, where you're just going to have these little niggle things that just bother you every now and again, where you're just like, oh, if I could change these things, I would. But I will say, you know what's the worst one? The worst one of it all. And this one upsets me the most. The worst thing about Connie, or worst habit, is I'd be sitting at home most days, doing whatever I'm doing, pottering around the house, enjoying it, having a good day. Most times I am having a good day. You know, I'm a fucking YouTuber. It's comfortable out of existence. And she gets home from work. Now, she works in a veterinary clinic, for those of you who don't know. So she gets home from work. And you're like, oh, hey babes, how was your day? Hope all was well. You know, kind of letting her get the little bit of chat out of her system there so I can meet me quota. But how was your day and all that? Now bear in mind, I've had a great day up until this point. I'm in good form. And she turns around to me and she says, oh yeah, well, it was a bit of a shit day because somebody found a load of kittens thrown in a ditch. They were abandoned by somebody, so we had to take him in and you know, get him rehomed and stuff. And I'm like, oh shit, that's horrible. Well, look, at least you rescued him and you can put him into new homes. And then she'll be like, no, we couldn't rehome him. Maggots ate half their face and then they died of gout. And I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ, girl, keep it light. Fucking, like, what a way to destroy your mood in a day. Especially me, I like animals. And she just comes in with these horrific horror stories that just completely upset me for fucking hours on end after that. Like, and I know she's got to go through it too, but, fuck's sake. It's like every other day she comes home with a miserable fucking story and it just bums me out for the evening. There was a story she told me there, it was yesterday, maybe the day before. And it was this dog that they had taken in and they suspected it had eaten poison or something, but they were never sure. But it was doing like a swimming motion with its paws, even though it wasn't in water. So there was something wrong with the brain. Something was going on there, some wires are being crossed and all that. And so they did the usual exams and all that, and whatever they could, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with the dog. So they said, look, we'll just put it on fluids and whatever they did. I don't know. I'm not a vet. I'm sure they knew what they were doing. But they did everything that they could, and they're like, look, we'll leave him in overnight on the fluids and whatever else, and we'll see how he is in the morning. And they came in the next day, and he'd stopped doing the paddling thing. He seemed to be good, seemed to be in good form, and they're like, oh, that's grand. It looks like it's going to get better. So we can probably ring the owners now and let them know that the dog is on the mend. But then a couple of hours later, it took off doing the paddling thing again. And they're like, oh, fuck, this is not good. So then they kept the dog in again for another night, just to see if maybe flushing the last of the shit out of its system and all that. That's grand. Came in the following morning, dog had died. How depressing is that? Fuck's sake. This the shit. I get this shit every day. Every day I have to listen to this, lads. Somebody help me. She won't stop. She's giving me depression. It's so bad. And she gets into detail too. She starts telling you about how they have to ring the fucking owners and tell them, yeah, your dog died last night, come in and collect the body. Like, all this kind of fucking morbid shit, and you're just like, fucking hell. But yeah, so there you go. There's my Connie rant done. I don't often rant about her, to be fair. I'd see some people who do podcasts and stuff like that, and they'll bitch about their missus for an extended period of time over many number of podcasts and whatnot. I'm not like that. I enjoy the company of my missus. She's great crack. But yeah, she certainly has her faults. You'd think she'd just take a leaf out of my book and not have any faults whatsoever and just be the perfect partner. But one can dream. So what else has been going on in the world? What did I miss out on? So the last podcast I was talking about the Amber Heard trial. I was watching the last day of it, and since then it's come out. And yeah, sure enough, the jury, which I think they got the verdict bang on, was dead right, came out and said that, yeah, there's no proper evidence that Amber Heard has been abused. So it's a lot of defamation. Yeah, her thing in the article was classed as defamation, which is good. Yeah, Johnny Depp wins, and the public can see how much of a fucking psycho that Amber Heard one is. Jesus Christ, like that whole trial. There's some people like sticking up for her in comments and stuff like that, say, oh no, she's telling the truth, this, that and the other. I'm just like, watch the fucking trial. Watch the trial and tell me after that you still think she's telling the truth. Humans were evolved with a fucking intuition for judging people. And I tell you, once you watch that trial and you see how she behaves and her evidence and how nothing adds up, you're just like, oh, this one's setting off alarm bells. She's a psycho bitch. So that's what I think is the biggest cure. So as they say, the biggest cure for believing in God is reading the Bible. This is the biggest cure for defending Amber Heard is listening to Amber Heard. But having said that, it's made me think about mental bitches. Because it's come to light that Amber Heard's a mental bitch. That's fair enough. But men have always known that women are mental bitches. We've had to put up with them for so long. This is going to be a very anti-women podcast now that I think about it. Really hitting this one. But you know what? Fuck it, I'm rolling with it. You can't tell me what to do. This is my house. You can complain all you want. There's the door. Fuck off if you don't want to hear it. But anyway, it was made me thinking about mental bitches, and it reminded me of a story. It was my brother. He was meeting this girl, dating this girl, whatever you want to call it. He was for about 2 months. And she was obsessed with him, like oppressively so. And she was just like, texting him non-stop, always trying to talk to him, questioning him everywhere he went and what he was doing and all that. And bear in mind, they're only together 2 fucking months. Like this is some married 20 years, something's there's treachery afoot kind of behaviour, not we're together 2 months kind of fucking behaviour, And as you'd imagine, he got pretty fucking annoyed by this. So we're in the car there one day, we're doing laps of the town, man. With the boys back in the day. We're doing laps at the town in the car there, and he just turned around and he's like, oh no, I'm fucking breaking up with her now, I'm sick of this shit. Like, so he texted her, because he's a class act, my brother. He texted her and he's like, yeah, I want to break up with you. And she fucking lost it. Like, she was like frantically trying to ring him and text him and everything like that. She was having none of it. Like, she took it as if it was an option, not a statement, and she was like fighting it, that kind of way. But my brother was having none of it, like, It was a bit of a scope back in the day, so it was funny out, but eventually he answered the phone to her and he put it on loudspeaker, and she goes, if you break up with me, I'm going to kill myself. And no word of a lie, he replied, then do it, and hung up the phone. The fucking never text her back. Absolutely called her fucking bluff on it. They were like fucking 16, 17, but I just fucking love that reply. And fucking do it, and just hung up, no fucks given. You could tell by the look on his face that he knew full well she was just lying for attention, you know, that kind of way. And she never did, for the record. She was just a fucking psycho. They only together 2 months, and she was like checking up on him the whole time. Like, I don't know, they can get a bit, some women can get a bit antsy like that. It's so strange. I remember there was a little bit of that with my ex. I remember I got to a stage with my ex before, because it was this thing when we were going out, anytime I was going out with the boys, it was always like, and who you're going to go out with and where you're going. And, you know, she'd never admit she was paranoid, but she behaved very paranoid, if that makes sense. It's like she wasn't willing to admit it, but she certainly wasn't able to hide it. You know, that kind of way. So it was a lot of questions. I'm not paranoid, and then immediately asked me 10 fucking questions completely fueled by paranoia. You know, this kind of bollocks. And eventually got to the stage where I did, in fact, start lying to her. Because what I do is I'd just head out with the boys and just tell her I'm not out with the boys, just because, not that I wasn't getting up to any no good or getting up to no good or anything. It was just that I didn't want to have to be fucking texting her all night to reassure her that I'm not fucking off with some other young one or something like that. Like, you know, I told her about this like about a year or so after, and she fucking flipped out. It came up in conversation. I think she was out, and myself and the boys were reminiscing of a night out, and she was there, and she was like, I don't remember you going out that night with the boys. And I was just like, look, I won't lie to you now. I lied to you back then. I went out with the boys of a Wednesday night there. They called around. They were looking for, why didn't you tell me this? And I was like, because I didn't want to be fucking texting you for the night, be pulling out the phone every 5 minutes going, yeah, I'm fine. I haven't fucked anyone else. I'm not dead or anything. Now fuck off and go to sleep and leave me enjoy my pint with the boys. I didn't want to be have to doing that all fucking night. So I just told you I was going to bed, and then I went out with the boys. Just that kind of shit in relationships I despise. That fucking paranoia. Just, it's pure and utter cancer for a relationship. Like, if somebody is going to cheat on you, they're going to cheat on you, whether or not you know where they are, what they're doing at any given time. They're going to do it. If that's their intentions, they will do it, and they will accomplish it. And you know what? You may or may not even find out about it. But you texting them frantically, non-stop, and checking up on them every 5 minutes isn't going to slow down or even stop that one fucking morsel. It's going to happen regardless. So why fucking rack your brain worrying about that shit when you have no power to control it? It just seems like you're inviting negativity into a relationship where it just doesn't belong. Talk about speaking to the devil, huh? Just when I'm talking about relationships, the missus rang me. Not that she'll know, because I cut it out of the podcast or whatever, but no, she's after giving me some news. I'll tell you this. I had Max in, my old dog, my old pit bull. I had him into the vets the other day because a lump had came up on his nipple, like under it. There was this weird kind of lump that was there, and one of his testicles had gotten bigger. The missus had discovered. And like the way she gropes this dog, she's pure, you know, vet mentality. But she was just like, she occasionally feels his balls, because like early days when we first got together and stuff like that, she was like, you need to get him neutered, it lowers testicular cancer and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, I'm not taking away the dog's balls for no good reason. I'm not going to take away his balls out of fear he might get testicular cancer. I'll react. I won't try to preempt this kind of shit, because I could be taking him away for nothing. I could be taking him away, take the poor dog's balls for no good reason at all, like, you know. And as a man, I'm rather attached to my balls, so, you know, there's a little bit of that involved in it as well. But he had a lump that came up on his nipple there the other day, under his nipple, and we'd noticed, well, the missus has noticed one of his balls was feeling a bit bigger. So we brought him in anyway, as you do, to the vet to have him looked over, and the vet confirmed that there was something in one of his testicles. Like, they did an ultrasound on it, which is weird to have, because I was there for it. So I'm quite friendly with all of them in there, the vets. So like they allow me to be there, so I could see an ultrasound of his ball, which is very weird looking, I will say. But yeah, they were able to show me on it. Okay, there's a mass in one of the testicles, so we're going to recommend castrating him, taking his balls for that. And I was just kind of I was like, you know what, that's fine. If there's something there, then I can justify castrating. I will react and do the proper thing and allow you to take his testicles, you know, as there is now good reason to do so. And so that was grand. They took the testicle and they sent it away to get it tested just to make sure. Some people don't do this, but I'm one of these people that needs to know is when you get a lump taken off an animal, you can choose to have it sent away and have it tested just to confirm whether it is something to worry about down the line, or turns out it's benign or nothing at all, you know, that kind of thing. So I'll pay the extra £100 or whatever it is to get it sent off and tested, just so I know, for my own peace of mind. I know whether or not do I need to be keeping an eye out for more lumps in the future or anything, you know, that kind of way. And they took his nipple as well. They took the nipple and the lump, they took that off and sent that away from her as well. They also took he had this weird kind of skin tag on his side that appeared in the last few years. And that was really annoying. It's like when you're giving him a belly rub, it's got this horrible bit of skin that was like hanging off him. And I asked the vet to take a look at it a couple of times in the past, and they were like, no, it's just it's just a weird growth. It's not anything to worry about. But while he was under, I was just like, can you take that off, please? It's a bit of a fucking eyesore in the dog. I know it's cosmetic surgery from my dog, but it was only this tiny little thing. Like, it wouldn't even need a stitch or anything. And so they agreed and they took that off him as well. So now he's got a lovely pristine belly once again. So yeah, they sent him off, and it was just the missus was just ringing me there because they got the results back. So the testicle was benign. It was a benign lump. It was like, a dormant or whatever, in an active tumor or whatever, benign tumor or whatever. So we took his balls for nothing. No balls left, Max. No balls left for nothing. But I would have done it anyway. It's better safe than sorry, and he's got all the testosterone that he's ever needed now because he's nearly fucking 10. But the nipple has come back. It was a carcinoma, a low-grade carcinoma. Now, Max already has lymphoma. So this is Max's second cancer, which is really fucking annoying because my last dog, Snoop, which some of you might know passed away there about a year or so ago, died of cancer. And not only that, it was the second type of cancer that she had, because she had, it was a type of skin cancer, and I think it was 3 cancers, because so she had tags on her skin, like black marks on her skin, a type of cancer. She had cancer on the inside of her, and a cancer of the spleen. Now, we got the spleen out of her. I think all said and done, it was 3 cancers. It was cancer that got her in the end. There was cancer on her pelvis. She couldn't walk anymore. Like, the back legs had just gone, and she was just miserable, and she was already kind of old and sore and arthritic and everything else, and it was just... she had to be put to sleep at that stage because she was suffering. So that's it. I'm 2 for 2 on fucking cancerous dogs. Jesus Christ, I know how to fucking pick them, don't I? Fucking hell. Like, cancer, I know it's a common thing to die from, but is it so common that I could have 2 dogs with 5 cancers? That's got to be a fucking record, surely. Jesus Christ. I'm laughing now because I'm only laughing because it's just frustrating me. Because now I'm just like, fuck's it. It's you only have a time limit now. I'd rather have a dog and have them die of old age or natural causes, stuff like that. When you have cancer involved, it's just like a time limit. You're just like, what'll get them first, old age or the cancer? And if it's the cancer, then you just get angry at that. And I don't know, I just don't like seeing the hourglass tick down. I don't like seeing the sand go through the hourglass above their head, and you're just like, fuck it. Now every lump he gets is going to be like, what the fuck is this? What's that? Is it just a scab because he was scratching himself, or is it something nefarious? So yeah, that's a pain in the fucking arse. See what I mean? It's always something horrible when she talks to me, isn't it? Oh, fuck's sake. Oh, if I didn't laugh, I'd cry. I remember the first time that Max was diagnosed with the lymphoma. The missus had noticed his glands were up. He had like swollen glands on his back legs. Yeah, his glands on his back legs, they were inflamed. And we had him tested. I think it was a blood test or something like that, and it was a lymphoma. Thankfully, it's a slow lymphoma. There was 2 types. I think it was like an A grade and a B grade, and he was like the B grade, which is apparently a very slow one. Apparently, they get 4 or 5 years before it really starts becoming a problem. Roughly on average. So there's a good chance that, or there's just some chance that he might die from something else before then. So, but when I found out that, I was so annoyed because like Snoop having died from the cancer fairly close to me finding that out, I was in no mood to be listening to people telling me that my dog has cancer. I lost my best gal already, and now you're telling me that my little champ is on the fucking way out as well. Oh, that's just dragged the fucking whole mood down, isn't it? I'll move on. Because now I've just got to sit and process this information. But I'll move on. Something else in the news that lately is there was a mass shooting in America. And I know I can say that without dating the fucking video, because you can say that literally at any time over the last 20 or 30 years and it'll be accurate. There was 2 in the same week, I believe. I'll come out right and say it. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to say what the rest of the world is thinking and what the rest of the world has already said. Lads, you just get rid of the fucking guns for fuck's sake. Like, I get it. I'm a red-blooded male. I like powerful engines. I like explosions. And I like guns. Guns are fucking cool. There's not a man on earth that doesn't think so, or at least the vast majority of us do. Guns are fucking cool. That's why you got so many video games based around guns. That's why you got so many movies based around war. All this kind of stuff. Guns are cool. But so is heroin. And heroin is technically safer because, let's be fair, heroin, you're only going to kill yourself. They can't even drink until they're 21 over there. And I'm pretty sure the law in most states is if you're 18, you can get a fucking gun. And not only a gun, you can get what's essentially a fucking assault rifle. Jesus Christ. It feels like they're just like driving along in a car, and the American government is driving the American car down the road, and just the kids are in the back and they keep shooting each other. but the American government isn't doing what all parents should be doing and kind of going, that's it, I'm turning this car right round and we're going home. You know, they're not doing that when they should be fucking doing that. You know, how many people do you need to fucking kill before they go, right, that's enough? You know, you got so far past that. So far past it. It's ridiculous. So, like, and as a spectator, as a dirty foreigner from an American's perspective, as an outsider looking in, I'm just like amazed about the inaction, like the no reaction to it at all together. Is it because there's like 5 people at the top that are like really fond of guns or getting backhanders from the NRA or whatever like that? I don't know the reason, but come on, like I think the vast majority of the population of America believe guns should be taken out of the hands of a lot of people. And I think it's just the government is at fault for not fucking taking action, like, you know? Too busy having their fucking back pockets greased by gun nuts by you. See, that's the problem there. It's like my biggest quibble with the American gun culture. Well, I don't even like calling it American gun culture. It's as if you've been doing this for hundreds and hundreds of years. It's like, Jesus Christ, there's probably people alive today older than fucking America. You don't have traditions, lads. But the biggest thing that bothers me is, how do Americans fight? And I don't mean like going foreign, like army, all that kind of shit. I mean like you're standing in line and some lad walks up and slaps your girlfriend on the arse. Like in most of the countries in the world, you're like, I'm fucking throwing hands, fucking cock the knuckles, you know, get the old sleeves, roll them back there like you're cocking the gun, just and fucking start decking the bastard. In America, you're going to have a fucking bit of hesitation because you're like, he could have a fucking gun on him and he could just shoot me in the fucking face and that'd be it. I don't know how America does it. In constant fear of other people being armed, because it's a strong likelihood they probably fucking are. So you couldn't get into fights. You'd probably be apprehensive about giving people too much lip in the street, you know, out of fear to just turn around and shoot you. Because not only are they packing heat, they could be psychotic, because Americans are people, and we all know people are fucking idiots. It just seems such a weird thing. I need a gun in my house because somebody else would go. If I lived in America, I'd want a gun in my fucking house too. I get behind that, yeah. I wouldn't mind a handgun to defend my family because the entire fucking population is armed. I'm not going to be the fucking chump sitting there with a fucking butter knife when somebody bursts through the door with a fucking sawn off. You know? But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like a high tension way of life, you know? Knowing that most of the people around you are armed with weapons that only take one press of a button to fucking snuff your flame out completely. That's a lot of power to be given the casual fucking idiot walking the street, you know? I know, I can feel like the Americans in the comments right now. It's like, how dare you talk about our guns? Although saying that, probably not. I think, as I said, like a lot of Americans are in favour of much stricter fucking gun laws. But it just as an outsider looking in, somebody who's from a completely different culture, not having guns is great. Just for those reasons, Ben, you can fight people. You don't have to worry about being shot. You can get into arguments. You can send your kids to school. The worst thing they'll get is bullied. You know, it's a pretty fucking, like, I do take my life living in Ireland, and I'm sure a lot of people out there from the UK, who's another big portion of my audience there, who have similar gun laws to Ireland and the rest of the world as well, where, like, you know, it's like, do you work in law enforcement? No. Okay, then you can't have a fucking gun. But I feel like all of us really take for granted how great our lives are because not everybody has a gun. You know, there's a comfort in that. You can relax. Worst thing you're going to get is punched in the face or maybe stabbed, you know, if it's a bit preemptive. But that's kind of the worst of it. But like fucking Americans just gotta live in fear every fucking day. And if they don't, they fucking should. As I said, I'd feel much safer if everybody around me was legally allowed to take heroin. Actually, speaking of which, I was talking to an old friend of mine there not so long ago, and she's dabbled in heroin in the past. Quite sad, really. She's never been able to kick it, and if she has, she's not fully and stuff like that. But I was catching up with her there a while back there, and I just asked her a very candid question, because it was something that's always bothered me, because I was never really huge into drugs now myself. You know, that's something that never gripped me, because for me it kind of feel like a cheat code, you know. If you can just take this pill, it'll make you feel instantly better about your life or instantly happier or whatever, for, you know, even if it's temporary. Kind of feels like a cheat code. It feels like you're hacking the game, you know. It's if you can get instant happiness with a pill or a joint or injection or whatever else forms it comes in, then that's going to devalue the rest of your fucking life something wicked, because nothing's ever going to live up to that. How are you going to get the same level of fucking serotonin or dopamine rush or whatever else these fucking drugs do in your day-to-day life when you're like taking these things that are compressed balls of euphoria or whatever else? Like, nothing is ever going to live up to that. I think that's probably why drugs destroy people so much. because day-to-day life would never live up to that level of what they've experienced, so everything becomes very boring in comparison. That'd be my theory of it anyway. But I asked her anyway, a very candid question. I asked her anyway, I was like, out of all the fucking drugs in the entire fucking world, why would you pick heroin? I couldn't get a straight answer. She was out of her face on heroin, you see. I'm sorry, I couldn't help but make the joke. But I didn't get an answer out of her. I don't think she even knew herself. But that's one thing that's always bothered me. It's like, if you're going to experiment with drugs, surely you must know going in. Okay, if there's one of the 5 top drugs I don't take, heroin's got to be top that list. I'm sure crystal meth and all them other ones. Like, I'm sure there's healthier drugs, if there's such a thing. Don't know where I'm going with this, but I'm sure there's better fucking drugs out there for you than heroin and crystal meth and all that other horrible, going to destroy your life and ruin your family and finances and everything else kind of drug, you know? I remember I was out with the boys one night and they were telling me about cocaine. They had done cocaine in the past, and I was pure, morbid curiosity. I was like, what's it like? What's cocaine like? What's the hype? And they said, not fucking worth it. I was like, what? Cocaine's not worth it? And they're like, yeah. Now these boys had fucking they dabbled with like fucking MDMA and all that kind of stuff in the past. They were no stranger. They were kind of like trisexuals. They'd try anything once, that kind of way. But they were really underwhelmed by it, especially because apparently it cost them a fucking fortune. So yeah, they were very, very underwhelmed by it. I've lost my train of thought. I don't know where I was going with that. Was I going anywhere with it? Isn't a podcast you're just listening to my thoughts out loud? Are we all going to die one day? Probably. Anyway, yeah, so like if you're taking drugs, it's just like a cheat code to life. Is it any wonder that shit just ruins people for the rest of their days? Finishing a work project or buying a new car and all that doesn't live up to railing a fucking line of stuff. That's my theory as somebody who's never dabbled much in the way of drugs. And that's my running theory. I think the only time I'd really take drugs is if they were given to me by a professional, one of the, like an antidepressant or something like that. Because I've seen firsthand a couple of my mates who've had depression and they've been put on medication. Fucking works. For the most part, they become way more functional. Although saying that, you'll have to sit through therapy. Therapy is one of them weird things. I've always recommended it for people to do if they're like feeling down or out and all that. Talk to a fucking professional because they know what they're talking about. I'm a man of science. And if they've studied psychology their whole life, then yeah, you probably should listen to what they have to say. But I've not gone to a therapist myself. At least not for me. We've gone to like fucking family therapists in the past years and years ago, but like not for myself personally. And the reason why I'm apprehensive about therapy, despite my ups and lows in life, and sometimes I genuinely worry if I am depressed or not, but I can't tell because depression's weird. It's not like you wake up and you can just, the word depression is flashing in front of your face and you're like, oh, that's what it is. No, it's a weird thing when you're just like, I was a different person 6 months ago. Weird that. It's one of the shit. It's vague. It's formless. It's intangible. You can't grab hold of it. It's just a theory at best. But I've had these things. But I'd rather not go to therapy because you know what they're going to do? And maybe this is like a Hollywood movie thing or not. I don't know. If anybody's ever been to therapy, you can tell me in the comments or wherever you may find me. But you can fill me in on the deets. But one thing I don't want out of a therapist is I don't want to go in there and say, yeah, I'm not particularly happy. I don't want them to turn around and go, okay, tell me about your fucked up childhood. I don't want to be reliving all that kind of shite. I've already lived through it once. Can we just leave that alone in its past where it fucking belongs? I'm a logical man. I understand the results that can have, but I'm happy enough to put that to bed. Can we just fix the mess I am now and not worry about that shit? That's over. Let it alone. Leave sleeping dogs lie. I don't want to deal with any of that fucking shite. Actually, on that topic, what bothers me? Do you ever speak with people and they tell you about their fucked up childhood and stuff like that, and how they're depressed from it, and it's they're carrying it with them and they're whinging about it. They're fucking whinging about it. I've a little pet peeve on that, and this is my experience from both myself and all of my close mates and all that who've had a similar kind of fucked up childhood and stuff like that. When you have a fucked up childhood, you don't fucking whinge about it. To be honest, 90% of the time you don't even know you had a fucked up childhood. The only time you find out you've ever had a fucked up childhood is when you're like reminiscing on your past with a group of people and you laugh and they all look at you with eyes of concern. That's when you realise, oh, that probably wasn't normal. Either was perfectly normal upbringing for me, but okay, apparently that's not normal for all of you. Okay, apparently I do have something to worry about. There's that. And another thing, people who've had struggles growing up, whatever walks of life they've come from, people who struggle when they're growing up, They tend to be quite fucking hardy people, you know? Fucking, they can take it on the chin. They tend to be people with a good sense of humour. They're not wallowers and fucking whingers that sit around, oh, fucking woe is me. They're some of the hardest fucking cunts you'll ever come across, both emotionally and fucking otherwise. They've toughed it out. They're able to fucking take on life, and they're able to take things a lot harder than a lot of other people can. Some of my mates, the most emotionally mature, fucking emotionally rugged people I've ever met, and they've had a fucked up childhood. Don't sit around fucking whinging about it. You know, they've become harder people for it. So that's my quibble when people are talking about, you know, when you get talking to people and they just unload their fucking life on top of you about their childhood, and you're like, if that really was a fucked up childhood, you wouldn't be bothered by it. You'd be such a fucking trooper of a person right now. You wouldn't be sitting here whinging about it all day long, fucking looking for sympathy votes here. You'd be moving on. You'd be progressing your life in whatever kind of way. You'd be more fucking functional than you are now. I know there's exceptions to the rules, and there is some people that have had like really, really fucked up childhoods that I can't account for. I can just go on my experience, my mate's experience, but yeah, that's just my summary. People who've had a fucked up childhood just tend to be fucking much harder and hardier fucking people. And after watching that Johnny Depp trial, and seeing the lovely Dr. Curry, I'd be terrified if I went to a therapist and it turned out I had Dr. Curry as a therapist, because you wouldn't be able to talk my fucking horn down. My God, what an absolute bombshell of a woman. Unbelievably intelligent and very attractive. Christ, could you imagine having that temptation in front of me? And she all smart and she's telling me about myself. Oh God, I'd be like, I'm sorry, Connie, I can't. I'm going to have to ride my therapist. I've no choice in the matter. This is it's my dick would never forgive me if I didn't at least try, Connie. I'm sorry. Oh God, could you imagine being Dr. Curry's patient? Oh my God. No, honestly, my therapist would want to be some decrepit old woman or fucking, you know, a very ugly man, and I can only have him on a Wednesday, you know, that kind of way. I can't have him anywhere near a fucking Tuesday. It was Saturday, just to be safe. Keep it as far removed from a Tuesday as we can. Could you imagine the emotional blow your partner would take if you cheated on them with somebody of the same sex? If I just cheated on her, but we're also the man. I've known people who were like straight for years and they've turned out to be gay down the line, and they're married with kids and they turn out to be gay, and you're just like, Jesus, could you imagine the emotional bang you'd get from that? It would be like, oh my God, I've actually turned a man gay with my sheer fucking presence alone. Am I such a fucked up human being that just me and who I am has turned this man off of Fanny? That's a fucking accomplishment right there. Because I've often thought it myself, for sake of simplicity, I'd nearly fucking take up the rod full time, you know? No, there's not a straight man out there in a relationship that hasn't considered it. They'd be like, Jesus Christ, it'd work some of the kinks out. You know, you could just go, listen, I'm kind of randy and I'd like a pint. And you just want somebody there going to go, I'm kind of randy and I want a pint as well. You're like, that's fucking great. Could you imagine agreeing with somebody on that level? God, such a good life. Such a good life. Lads, I don't even know what this fucking episode was. This episode was just spiritual, it was moving. I think we've all learned something. I haven't done a fucking what's the quack, and I'm at the end. I've run out of shit to talk about, believe it or not. So hold on there and I'll find a joke. I didn't even look at it up, but I woun't want to leave you empty-handed there, like, you know. I want you to go home with a full belly and empty balls. So let me find something for you. Okay, I've got a couple. Right, roll the intro.
Quack, 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 quack me up. Quack, 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 quack me up. Get your ducks in order. It's time for Quack Me Up Corner.
So here's one to kind of counter my my misogynistic tendencies over this podcast. So you lady, all one or two of you, whoever listening, you'll enjoy this. What's the difference between your boyfriend and a condom? Condoms have evolved. They're not so thick and insensitive anymore. Oh yeah, I'm a fucker for that. I'm always getting accused of not being sensitive. But look, you read my fucking package. You read the ingredients before you bought me. It's on you. That was your mistake. You purchased me. And I'll leave you with one more. What's the difference between an oral and a rectal thermometer? The taste. Now, there you go, lads. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to love you and leave you and go get something to eat because I'm fucking starving. I only recorded this podcast really to begin with. If you want the real behind the curtain scene is I'm still doing OMAD, the 1 meal a day, and I was fucking starving. The hunger was hitting me a little bit earlier today than it was yesterday because I had carbs yesterday and the cravings there. So I was like, I need a distraction to get me until 6 o'clock there so I can have me dinner. So there you go, lads. I'm sorry. I used you and abused you and threw you away like the fucking whores you are. Yeah, it wouldn't be a Ducky episode if it didn't land or didn't end on something completely absurd. But anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in and have a listen. And I will catch you, lads and ladies, in the next one.